A few weeks ago, in a quiet lab outside Beijing, a scientist pressed one button. In one single second, that button sent enough data to hold 250,000 movies. Not one movie, not 10 movies. 250,000 movies, gone through the air, in the time it takes you to blink. That is not a typo. That is real. And it did not happen by accident. Here is the part that should really grab you. That test was not just about speed. It was the first real step toward something that sounds like it belongs in a movie. Real people, showing up as full, solid-looking, three-dimensional holograms, standing right in your living room, while they are actually thousands of miles away. Not a video call, not a screen. A person made of light, standing in your room, moving and talking like they are really there. China did not stumble into this by luck. In the last 2 months, the Chinese government has been quietly making moves that most people have not even noticed. New rules, new test zones, new teams put in charge of writing the actual rulebook that the whole world will have to follow one day. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how one lab test connects to a plan that could decide who controls the way the entire planet talks, works, and even heals sick people for the next 30 years. This story moves fast, and most channels are not catching these updates until they are already old news. If you want to be ahead of that curve instead of behind it, hit subscribe now, because the next piece of this story is already forming. Section 2. Why this is way bigger than faster internet. To understand why this matters so much, you need to know what your phone can actually do right now. A normal video call uses a tiny trickle of data. Think of it like a garden hose. A high-quality video, the kind you stream at night, needs a bit more, maybe like a kitchen sink faucet turned up high. Even the best 4K video your TV can show only needs a stream about as strong as a good shower head. Now think about a fire hose blasting at full power. That is closer to what real holograms need. Scientists say a true, lifelike hologram of a person, one with depth, motion, and no lag at all, needs a data flow about 4 million times stronger than a normal video call. That is the wall that has been stopping holograms from becoming real for years. Not the idea, not the cameras, the sheer amount of information that has to move through the air instantly without any delay. That 1-second test in Beijing hit exactly the speed needed to break through that wall. For the first time, a network has actually reached the number that scientists have been chasing for holograms to work in real life, not just in a demo video. Here is where it gets interesting. Hitting that number in a lab is one thing. Turning it into something an entire country can use is a completely different challenge. And that is exactly the part China has already started building. Section 3. China's secret head start. Most countries are still writing reports and holding meetings about the future of internet technology, often called 6G, the generation after the 5G most phones use today. China skipped straight past the talking stage. In May, the Chinese government opened up a brand new radio channel and said it could be used only for testing this next-generation network. Think of it like a city opening a brand new highway lane, but only letting their own trucks drive on it first, months before anyone else even gets the map. That head start matters more than it sounds like. Every test they run on that channel gives them real-world information. How signals bend around buildings, how weather affects them, how many devices can use it at once. That information becomes proof. And proof is exactly what countries need when they sit down together to decide which radio channels the whole world will officially use for this new network. Right after opening that channel, China launched a nationwide project. Cities, universities, and companies were all told to work together on this at the same time, instead of each working alone. That is the same playbound China used a few years ago to build more cell towers for current phone networks than any other country on Earth, and they did it faster than anyone expected. China has already picked a target date too. Full public use of this new network by the year 2030. Not a hope, not a maybe. a written goal sitting inside their official national plan. So while other countries are still discussing what this technology should even look like, China is already collecting real test data, training whole cities of workers, and racing toward a deadline. That gap is not really about who has better scientists. It is about who moves first. And that leads to the biggest part of this whole story. Section 4, the real prize, who makes the rules. Here is something most people never think about. Whoever writes the technical rule book for a new type of network does not just get bragging rights. They get paid forever by everyone else who uses it. Think about it like this. Imagine one company decided exactly what shape every phone charger plug in the world had to be. Every phone maker on Earth would then have to pay that company just to use that shape. That is roughly what happens with big network standards. The company or country that helps write the technical rules ends up owning key pieces of the puzzle that everyone else is legally required to use. This already happened once before. Years ago, one American company helped write many of the core rules for the network your phone used before 5G came out. That company then collected billions of dollars every single year from other companies around the world who had to use those same rules to make their phones work. China studied that story closely. Right now, one of China's biggest phone companies has been given a leading role inside the main global group that writes these technical rules. That group is made up of companies from many countries. But having a leading seat at that table means getting to help shape the first draft of what this new network is supposed to do and how it is supposed to work. On top of that, Chinese companies have already filed thousands of official papers claiming ownership over pieces of this future technology, making up close to 40% of all such papers filed anywhere in the world so far. Filing a paper does not guarantee a payout, but it is like planting a flag on a piece of land before anyone else even shows up to build there. China is also connecting this new network to its own satellite system, one that works without needing any approval from the United States or Europe. For countries that do not already have strong internet systems of their own, especially smaller nations across Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America, that could mean building their entire digital future on top of technology that runs through Beijing instead of through the West. That is the real prize here. Not holograms, not fast downloads. Control over the rulebook that the rest of the planet ends up following. Section 5. What this means for you. So what happens once all of this actually works the way it is planned to? Doctors could examine patients in faraway villages as if they were standing right in the room with them, guiding surgery in real time instead of just watching through a screen. Students in small towns could sit in classrooms with teachers who were actually holograms, beamed in from major universities instead of watching a flat recorded lecture. Families living oceans apart could finally sit at the same table together, at least in a way that finally feels real. That is the exciting part. But there is a serious side too. Whoever builds and controls this network decides how much it costs, who gets access first, and whose rules everyone else has to play by. Right now, one country is moving with a clear plan, a firm deadline, and years of head start data. Other countries are still mostly talking about doing the same thing. The technology in that Beijing lab is real. The race behind it is also real. And it is only getting started. If this video helped you see something most people are missing, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next update in this story. Here is a question for you. If one country ends up owning the rulebook for how the whole world connects, do you think that matters more than who simply has the fastest network? Drop your answer below. I read every single comment. If you want to go even deeper, check out the video where we go inside the actual labs building this technology right now, sitting in Shanghai, Chengdu, and Shenzhen.